Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something really important, something that a lot of us have probably faced. How do you hold onto your faith when you're going through something really tough, when the healing you've been praying for just doesn't seem to come? It's a really, really difficult place to be, and today we're going to explore a path through it.
This is the question, isn't it? It's the one that hangs in the air in those quiet, difficult moments. It's the kind of question that can make you doubt everything you thought you knew and can shake you right to your core. And let's get one thing straight right from the start. If you're feeling this way, discouraged, exhausted, maybe even full of doubt, that's a totally normal human response. You're not alone. This isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's about figuring out, okay, what do I do now?
And that next step, well, it really starts with taking a closer look at what we expect from faith in the first place. You see, a lot of the time, the real struggle is that huge clash between our faith and, well, our reality. It's a really common way to think, and you can understand why. We think, if I just have enough faith, I'm guaranteed a miracle. But what happens when that breakthrough doesn't arrive? That's when the crisis hits. We start wondering, am I doing something wrong? Is my faith just not strong enough? So this really boils down to two totally different ways of looking at faith. On one hand, you've got a faith that's based on your circumstances. It needs to see results to keep going, which means it's pretty fragile when things get tough. But then there's this other view, a faith that's based on God's character. It trusts His goodness no matter what's happening. And what's incredible is this is the kind of faith that can actually get stronger through hardship. And that's the kind of faith that's like an anchor, right? It's this deep trust in who God is, that He is good, that He is loving, and that trust holds on, even when the storms of life are raging. And the proof of that faith? Well, it's not getting the outcome you wanted. The real proof is that quiet, stubborn choice to just keep trusting, even when you're surrounded by uncertainty. So that brings us to the next big question, doesn't it? How does this actually work? How do you trust in the middle of a struggle? How does faith hold on when pain is your everyday reality? You know, a quote like this just changes everything. It reframes faith. It's not just a feeling you have. It's a choice you make. It's an act of endurance. That simple, gut-wrenching decision to just not give up, to hold on for one more day, that is a powerful act of faith. And this isn't some abstract concept. It's a real choice you can make every single day. First, you have to be honest about the pain. You don't deny it. Then, you make the choice to keep praying, to keep hoping, even when it feels like nothing is happening. And all of that leads to the third step. You simply persist in believing. You just make that choice again and again. And you know what? This whole idea isn't something new. It's woven deep into the Bible. It's where we find this incredible concept of finding grace right in the middle of our weakness. Let's look at a few examples. Man, this verse from 2 Corinthians is an absolute game changer. It's saying that God's power isn't shown by taking away our weakness, but by being perfected inside of it. His grace is enough, right here, right now, even if nothing changes. That is a completely different way of thinking about what strength really is. Then you've got this from Romans, which suggests there's a purpose in the pain. It's not a dead end. In fact, suffering is the start of a process. It builds perseverance, and that perseverance forges character. And then, against all logic, that character produces a real, tested hope. And this promise from the Psalms, it's such a comfort. Notice it doesn't say the righteous will have no troubles. Actually, it says they may have many. The promise isn't a life without problems. The promise is ultimate deliverance. It's a reminder that God's faithfulness gets the final say no matter how tough the road is. Okay, so when we put all of this together, we can start to see how it's possible to find hope right there in the middle of the pain. And it might mean we have to redefine what we think of as healing and deliverance. So maybe we need to broaden our definition. Of course, we always pray for physical healing. But maybe healing can show up in other ways too. Maybe it looks like a new kind of emotional resilience you never knew you had, or a deep spiritual peace that just doesn't make sense given the circumstances. Or maybe it's just the divine strength to get through one more day. And that right there is the unyielding anchor. Faith isn't some magic wand that makes all the pain disappear. It's the light that gives our suffering meaning, and it's the strength that holds us up, right in the thick of it. So I just want to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. What if the miracle we're looking for isn't always the removal of the burden?
What if the greatest healing of all is the supernatural strength to carry that burden with grace and with hope? What if that is the real miracle?